Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to the Lone Star Roundup. Please remember to like and subscribe. Help us hit 10,000 subscribers. A ton of news to get into in the Lone Star State. Let's start with the Dallas guys. Maurice Mighty Mo Hooker, the WBA 140-pound champ, made Big D proud once again, taking a lopsided decision over a game and rugged, really, really tough Mikel Lespierre of Brooklyn, New York, in front of the New Yorkers' hometown crowd. Hooker dominated every minute of every round, dropped his opponent with a vicious body shot in the ninth, did everything he could but stop him. Somehow, Lespierre got up and survived and made it to the final bell. Hooker won every round. Shortly after the fight, the WBO champ announced he would be extending his pact with promoter Eddie Hearn and his managerial team Rock Nation. Hooker is undefeated in 29 pro bouts. This is interesting because Hooker gave himself a C or a C minus after the fight. I thought he was a little hard on himself. I talked to him at the airport actually, from New York back to Dallas. Look, Hooker, he missed weight. He finally made weight on his third attempt right at the final minute. The performance was okay. I think it was just that Lespierre was determined to last. He was rugged. He was tough. There was not much you could do to knock him out. I mean, we were guessing which round, press row, we were guessing which round Hooker was going to knock him out, 5th, 6th, 7th round, like that. Lespierre just survived, He was a tough guy. He's a rugged guy. I thought Hooker won every minute of every round. At no point was this fight competitive. I don't think Hooker's performance was as bad as Hooker says it was. But on to bigger and better things. We're talking in the pros fight. Eddie Hearn was talking about potential fights that could be made. The Ramirez fight, the Prograis fight, the Josh Taylor fight. There's lots of fights for Hooker. Virgil Ortiz, who we'll get to, another Dallas native, super mega prospect. Happy birthday to Virgil Ortiz. Just turned 21 today. Shout out to him. But yeah. That's a potential fight. Virgil Ortiz calls Hooker out at least once a week. That would be a great offensive showdown. I hope that fight does get made. Virgil Ortiz is probably a little green right now. Virgil Ortiz is probably a little green right now for that fight. But Hooker says he can continue to make 140. I don't know if that's true, but we'll see. If so, down the road, that's a fight that should be made in Dallas. It would be a great fight. Speaking of Hooker, both his team and Eddie Hearn said that Hooker's next fight should be in June or July in Dallas. So we have that to look forward to. Speaking of a hometown fighter, Dallas fighter fighting in his hometown, 1 week later, in one weight class up, Errol Spence Jr., the truth of DeSoto, Texas, ran his record at 25-0 with a dominating performance over a pound-for-pound and 4-division world champ, Mikey Garcia. They packed out AT&T Stadium, 47,525 fans was the total count. It was the biggest fight of the year on the biggest stage. Spence entered the ring accompanied by Lancaster High School's marching band, which was awesome, and then put on a sensational performance for his hometown crowd, outclassing the younger Garcia brother. Early in the fight, dominated with his jab and elusive movement. He outlanded him something like 370 punches to 70. It was like 5-1 he outlanded him. It was a shellacking. That was a performance by Errol Spence. If you thought Errol Spence was just a come forward, seek and destroy guy, he had something for you. He outboxed Mikey Garcia. Mikey couldn't hit him. Errol Spence and Richard Schaefer of PBC said this in the post-fight. Dallas, Texas, you guys have the best fighter in the world. It is the Errol Spence era. Now, I don't know how many people outside of the boxing community, how many of your casual sports fans knew who Errol Spence was, or if they know who he is now. But Errol Spence, he can certainly be the boxing's next superstar. It can be his era, but he's got to be a little more outspoken. He said in the post-fight press conference that that's not his thing. He's a low-key guy. He's a laid-back type of guy. He doesn't like to do a bunch of interviews, but look, this is boxing. It's not the NFL. It's not the Super Bowl. You don't have some huge natural fan base. You got to sell yourself. Now, the skills and the ability of Hooker sell themselves, but he needs to try to put himself in front of more people. He said it's frustrating that that's not who he is, but, look, if you want to make 20, 30, 50 million a year like Canelo and Floyd and Pacquiao and those guys, you got to sell yourself. That being said, it was a great performance by Spence. He catapults himself, elevates himself on pound for pound list. He won every round on every scorecard. And one judge, Glenn Feldman, who I think is the best judge in the sport, gave him 110-8 round in the 11th. So he scored at 120 to 107, and the other two judges scored at 120 to 108. Every round on every scorecard went in favor of Errol Spence. The mega card in AT&T Stadium on March 16th, that had millions of eyes on it, featured several up-and-coming Dallas-based fighters. Couple names that you guys should keep an eye on, unbeaten fighters, Arman Rashidi and Fernando Garcia, both scored knockouts on the undercard to keep their respective records perfect. Gabriel Gutierrez, who fought Rashidi, was dropped in the third round, and then twice more in the fourth, in the fifth and the sixth, to finally bring a halt to that bout. Fernando Garcia scored a one-sided fifth-round knockout in what became a brutal beating as the fight progressed. Burley Brooks, another product of R&R Gym. R&R Gym is, of course, the gym that Errol Spence trains out of, R&R Boxing Club. And he's also signed, Brooks is also signed to Errol Spence's Man Down promotion. Has been in camp with Spence for several camps, made his pro debut. He took a page out of Errol Spence's playbook and scored a vicious one-punch body knockout. Just absolutely vicious shot. This kid, Burley Brooks, I don't know what weight he's going to settle in at, but this kid looks really good. Alamo City was also well represented on the Spence Garcia undercard in Arlington, Texas. Two old-world San Antonian little men also stayed perfect. Jesse Bam Rodriguez, in just his ninth pro fight, scored a third-round TKO over Raf, I'm going to butcher this name, Agayev, a veteran, well over 30 pro bouts, was absolutely annihilated in 3 rounds by Bam. Bam is just 19 years old, and according to him and his father, he will be perhaps fighting for a world title as soon as his next fight, and it's just his 10th pro bout. Bam is trained out in Oxnard, California. He's based with Robert Garcia. And if you guys don't pay attention to the smaller weight classes, this kid is something special. He's a two-fisted power. He's a really good boxer. He's long for the division. He's just 19. And this is a name you're going to see rise up through the weight classes. He fights at 105. He can fight, 105, 108, 112, anything like that, he says. And I think in the near future, he will hold straps in all 3 of those weight classes. Also, another Robert Garcia protege, 21-year-old Robert Biggie Rodriguez, got the night off. He kicked the night off in dominating fashion. He'd been out of the ring for almost a year. But this kid is real strong for the size. Again, another flyweight, a little guy. He actually fights, he says, at 108, but which would be junior flyweight. But he's a big, strong kid for that weight class. And he's fighting a bigger guy who couldn't make weight, and he was walking him down, southpaw, landing right hooks at will. The fighter's name was Ibarra Deonda, and he was no match for Biggie Rodriguez. Biggie took a lopsided decision by scores of 40-36 twice and 39-37. Again, that was his first bout in nearly a year. He's been with Robert Garcia his entire career as well. Garcia found these kids in the amateurs, and he's got 2 future world champs here, it looks like. Biggie, I want to see him fight, obviously, better competition. But if that's what he looks like in his 3rd pro fight after a year off, that kid's got a future. And Jesse Bam Rodriguez, that kid should be a world champion this year. There's a lot of special talent in that kid. The night before that fight, the night before the Errol Spence Mikey Garcia fight in Arlington, Texas, in Irving, Texas, Alejandro Guerrero made a homecoming performance. Irving, Texas native, made a sensational hometown appearance. Got the knockout for his hometown crowd. It was a really great event. It was well attended. But then also in the crowd there was Robert Garcia, who obviously trains Guerrero. So Mikey Garcia was there. Ferocious Fernando Vargas was there. Kelly Pavlik was there. The entire, most of the mainstream boxing, the big time boxing media was there. Oscar Cantu, Little O was there. This was a really, really great fight. And a great card and a great event put on by both Montoya Boxing and Garcia Promotions. It was in Irving, Texas. Small card at a place called Southern Junction in Irving. And the amount of boxing talent and expertise that was there was really amazing for a small card. And Alejandro Guerrero, who goes by the name Pork Chop, this kid looks like a little Brandon Rios. So he's obviously trained by the right guy in Garcia, but this kid is heavy-handed. The way that he's built, he looks like Rios. He's got heavy legs. He's a 135 pounder. If you can stay at 135, this kid is going to be a problem at that weight class. He is freakishly strong, heavy-handed. He throws nice combinations. He's not the most athletic guy in the world, but he's athletic enough. And with that pop and strength at that weight class, he's going to be a problem. So keep an eye on him, Alejandro Pork Chop Guerrero. He also fought on Spence's undercard of Spence Ocampo, too, at the Star in Frisco. The next day, after Spence Garcia, St. Patrick's Day, Oscar Mojica, hometown favorite here in Dallas, Texas, with a massive upset over two-time Olympic medalist Paddy Barnes of Ireland at the world's most famous arena, Madison Square Garden. Again, that was on St. Patrick's Day. Mojica is a tough customer and has had several close and controversial decisions go the other way. The decision victory over the Irishman establishes Mojica again as a world-class bantamweight. Mojica, who's from Dallas, like I said, has lost close decisions to Ernesto Delgadillo, Jose Martinez, Josh the Professor Franco, and Antonio Nieves, who were all unbeaten prospects at the time Mojica faced them. This is a kid whose record is not great, but the talent is there. He's right there with everyone. I mean, this kid could make a move. He's still fairly young. I think he's 26. Keep an eye on that name in the bantamweight. I know the bantamweight division is loaded, but Oscar Mojica is an excellent fighter who's going to have some staying power there. And then upcoming March 28th in San Antonio, Kendo, Tremendo, Castaneda, one of my favorite fighters, will do battle with the Dominican Yudi Bernardo at Cowboys Dance Hall in San Antonio. In the co-main event of this one, undefeated San Antonio Xavier Wilson will battle ABF USA super lightweight title holder Johnny Ariano, who is in his last outing, coming up a 2-year layup, pulled a major upset over Houston-based D'Angelo Keys. This was supposed to be a coming out party for D'Angelo Keys of Houston, but at the time an undefeated prospect, one of the top prospects to watch the 140-pound division, and Ariano pulled up the major upset and elevated himself from unknown to legitimate contender overnight. So he'll be fighting on the co-main that will be streamed on the UFC Fight Pass, and it will be in San Antonio at the Cowboy Dance Hall. The card will also feature fellow San Antonio prospects Daniel the Beast Baez, who is a lot of fun to watch, and the undefeated junior featherweight Henry Worldstar Arenado, as well as Jericho Walton, an undefeated Houston welterweight prospect. So lots of big names, lots of big prospects to watch. Arredondo and Baez are a lot of fun. Jericho Walton is taking a step up fight. He really hasn't. He looks good. He's a good prospect. Hasn't really fought anyone of note. So we'll see where that fight goes. But let me know what you guys think. Leave your thoughts, comments below. For 3D Boxing, this is the Lone Star Roundup from Texas to the world. Say thank you and God bless.
Enjoy 3D Boxing vlog videos? Show us some love by clicking the like button. Don't miss a tweet, post, story, or video. 3dboxingvlog.com is also on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Hit the subscribe button now to stay inside the ring.